Dale Comstock, Joe Tedeye, two American Warriors. What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother?
All
How
right,
you
so
doing,
it's
buddy?
I can only do about an hour today, but so you guys were talking about because we were just saying not so nice things about Tony Robbins, and yeah, we all kind of agreed upon he kind of targets the same middle-aged balding guys that want to go back to a time and turn back time, but no one's really there's no male figures for. I'm very lucky. I have an awesome father who's in my life. Some of my friends don't, and I know a lot of them. A lot of my friends my age right now, 29, are just starting to have sons, and a lot of them aren't happy with the way things are going nowadays, where it's toxic masculinity, where boys can't be boys. I have three brothers. My
Right.
mom said it was much easier to raise boys because we go outside and we punch each other, and you don't need to explain it any more than that. But nowadays, it's being demonized, and you guys were just talking about that, and I thought it was pretty neat. So let's just jump on into it. So what is it?
Yeah, I get
What is it? I mean, I'm too old. I'm 29. I get it. I'm not. I can't qualify for the coupon. But yeah. What is it? What is y'all's youth
So,
training, and why is it better than you know the
yeah,
dime a
so
dozen stuff out there?
you have to look at the world today that we live in, and you know, it's a different world from at least from when Joe and I we're almost the same age, grew up. Okay, we're actually in our mid 50s. I'm actually over that hump. In fact, I'm a little more than mid 50s. But when we grew up, we were rough and tumble boys, man. We had a problem. We settled it with a fight. We shook hands and dusted off and went back to being friends again. I'll share a quick story. My dad growing up, right? My dad, man. I mean, if I got in a fight, I remember several times I get in a fight with my friend out the street. We're out there rolling around on the street in the middle of the night, punching each other in the face. And my dad would walk out, and I hate to say this, it sounds bad, but my dad liked to drink beer, and
Yeah,
he'd walk out with a beer, and he'd drink his beer, and he'd look down at me and go, kick his, hey, son, and if you don't come home, I'm going to beat your butt when you get
yeah,
home, right?
yeah,
And he'd watch me fight for a while, and then he'd leave, and then me and my friend would finish up and shake it off, and,
yeah,
we were still best friends after that.
yeah,
It's just what boys do.
yeah.
And so, did it make me a bad person? No, absolutely not. I learned a lot of life lessons there. We are social animals. We have a hierarchy, okay? That's why we need, we have leadership, supposedly, that's why we have government. We have all these leadership figures in our lives, right? We look up to what God or, public, whatever. So, because that's what we need, right? We're social animals. We're not, independent type of animals. We're like lions, not tigers, right? In that regard. So we need to have a group, and so when you have any type of a social hierarchy, you have to have a hierarchy. I guess we have a social group. You have to have a hierarchy, right? Somebody's got to be in charge. If you're not, it's the normal thing is to buck for that station, right? To move up. And so, and there's actually a science behind all of this. And I won't get into the details of it right now. But the point to all my point is here. Society has bought into the feminist narrative that we're all equal, okay, and we should all and everything should have an equal outcome, and toxic masculinity. Well, nobody can tell me what the heck toxic masculinity means, right? There's no such thing, okay?
Yeah.
There's masculinity, okay? There's
Yeah.
femininity, and there's and then there's the androgynous ones, okay? But we're not going to talk about that. But so there's no such thing as masculinity, just not. And so what we want to do is we want to reach out to people, particularly 13 to 17-year-old teenagers, okay, and go, look, you know what? Why don't you let us, be your mentor, be your coach, and give you some training, some ideas on how to be a better you, to be more successful in life, to be not only physically fit, but understand what does fitness mean, what does diet mean, and why is that so important in our lives, right? Let us help you think differently, right? Stop buying into the herd mentality, okay? We're enculturated very early on to believe certain things that are often they're not true, Okay. And what we're going to teach these kids is challenge paradigms, not challenge authority, challenge paradigms, but respect authority, right? And just because somebody says something that you think is an authority figure doesn't necessarily mean they're right. You know, I can look back, a lot of the people who were authorities in my life, even my parents, were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And I missed a lot of opportunities because of that, because they shaped my way of thinking, which shaped my direction of travel, right? So we want to do that, and we want to help kids be better versions of themselves. We want them to be successful when they go to college. We want them to be successful in their careers. We want them to be successful in relationships. You know, in a way, my mind is, I'm thinking, I like this. I want to make James Bond, man. I want to make a bunch of James Bonds, right? You know, that's, you know, they're cool all the way around. You know, they're the envy of every man, the envy of every woman, but they're, you know, but they're also morally and ethically straight, and you know, and they're altruistic. So that's kind of where we're going with this, and I'll let Joe kind of expand on a little bit more. He's got some great ideas.
Please do.
Yeah. So what Dale's saying is absolutely right. So we were actually talking the other day, because we already have adult clients that we're coaching, and we were just sitting there thinking. And I think even Dale brought it up. It's like, what about these, you know, the young men that we're talking about right now? Not so much the females, but the young men out there that just aren't being mentored, for lack of a better word, either because it's a single parent situation. Maybe their fathers aren't involved in their life. Maybe their fathers aren't up to snuff. You know, I hate to say this, but I've met more than a few successful females that, you know, have their lives together, you know, got great jobs, make good money. They were married, they have sons, young sons, but unfortunately, they've got poor father figures. They're in the background. So, you know, what does that kid do? You know, a female's, you know, a great female role model, but a young man, like Dale was saying, 13 to 17-year-old, very impressionable. He needs a masculine role model, and he does. And so, so we started talking about it, and, you know, we started doing our homework, of course, doing our due diligence and looking online, and we were like, there's nobody out there doing this.
Right.
Like, there are some people, but they're specifically targeting things like, you know, kids with ADHD and other things like that. We're not talking about that. You know, Dale and I are not qualified to counsel kids on those type of mental illnesses. However, we are qualified to mentor and coach young men on how to be men. And so we came up with like 15 imperatives. You know, and the first one, first and foremost, is respect your parents and honor your parents. Like, that was hammered into me. You know, my father was one of my mentors. Like Dale, I know Dale's had several mentors in his life. I've had a few. My father was one. My grandfather was another one. You know, my father didn't have any money or nothing, but he always taught me to respect my elders, respect women, you know, please, thank you, yes, ma'am, all that stuff. So respect and honor your parents above all else. You know, another imperative is speak the truth at all times, you know, even if it's painful to do so. Don't get in the habit of telling lies. You know, maintain the moral high ground, especially when no one's watching. Because we all know, right?
That's the number one.
We all know it's easy to do the right thing when everybody's watching.
Yeah.
But when you're alone, you know, and you got that little devil going, go ahead and do it. And then, no, don't. You go, I'm not going to do it, right? That's when we want these young men to maintain the moral high ground and do the right thing when nobody is watching. And just like Dale said, you know, maintain your body. You know, don't use words like good enough, because that sets a bar and that's it.
It's
so
terrible.
Always be learning and growing. You honor your body. Be able to train yourself to defend yourself and others. So we've got these moral imperatives that we came up with, and I think they're really good because it covers everything. And in the beginning, I'm like, let's just do 5. I'm like, well, why would you just do 5? Let's talk about it. Like, so let's get into it. And we actually have 15 of them. So I just think this is a really important thing right now. Look, our world is not getting any better. I mean, and I'm not trying to be a doomsday guy, but look, these young men that are going to be put out into society, whether they go to advanced learning or they go to another profession or whatever the case may be, they become entrepreneurs, you know, they are going to have to be able to combat stress and all kind of things that a lot of these kids have been insulated from. And I got to tell you, I would say 90%, if not more, of the single parents that I know right now, men and women that have young men, a majority of their time is sitting in front of Xbox, playing games. They're completely oblivious. They are getting no training on how to be men. When that Xbox goes away, and it will, now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
And I would say it's a mixture of no training is present to be men, but it's also, some cases it's not even necessarily that. It's that there is a presence of a force to not be a man. You know, it's exactly what Einstein said. He said if a fish goes to school and its intelligence is based on its ability to climb a tree, it's going to go its whole life thinking it's an idiot. Right? So you know what?
I had some good quotes.
Yeah, Einstein, he's a smart fellow. Look him up. Yeah, but it's true. It's if you are raised in such a way that the person you literally are born as, you are told from the get-go that you are a thorn in the side of society, that you are too rough, that your edges are too sharp.
Right.
You're going to go through your whole life either thinking that there's something wrong with you, or thinking just you're going to be carrying around a guilt that is misplaced because it has no legitimacy to be there. It's when and it's not only that, but that's not happening everywhere in the world. That's happening in our society and a couple other first world countries. The vast majority of the world, men are being men. And there's going to be a day when, you know, it's like when you meet the football team across town and they don't practice with pads, right? And you're like, oh man, these guys, they don't care how soft we are. They're knocking us unconscious.
Right.
Eventually you're going to come toe to toe. I mean, dude, as a UGA graduate and an honor roll student who got into medical school, I can tell you the few guys that really gave me a run for my money, not letting me bust the curves, they were immigrants. Because everyone else, Sung Yup and Obi Ekalito from Africa and from South Korea. Yeah, because everyone else would say, you know, there's a curve, and why are you pushing it so hard? Why do you have to get a 99? Why can't you just get a 75? You'll still get an A. And then you look at these two guys, and one of them's like, dude, my father doesn't speak English. And the other one is like, dude, I grew up working in a laundromat in South Korea. Like, there's a certain, like, there is no, like, what do you mean slow down? What do you mean don't go harder? You go hard until you have what you want. And so we can as Rogan says, we can nerf up our society and curve the edges all we want. 99% of the world is not playing that way. So whether it's you go into business or go to medical school, or as you guys know, go into the military, no one else cares. So if you don't have a father figure, or if you don't have a figure teaching you how to be a man, and or you have a figure or a society telling you not to be one, I mean, once you hit 18 or 21, you're done. You are done.
And where these kids are finding their skill sets is on TV.
Yeah.
TV and on the internet, and that is the worst place to be trying to put your skill sets together. You know, just like Dale and I say, it's like you want to have a toolbox of all of these skills. You want a wrench and a hammer and a screwdriver and a socket set.
Yeah.
But if you grow up and all you got is a hammer and it's time to put in a screw in the wall, you know, I mean, you have no other points of reference on how to deal with people, you know, how to be a leader, you know, how to be a servant leader. You know, if you say that to a team, what do you mean a servant leader?
Yeah.
A servant doesn't lead. Well, actually, a servant leader does exactly that, you know? So, and we want kids to have, you know, that wolf pack mentality. You know, the strength of the wolf is in the pack, and the strength of the pack is in the wolf. You can lead, but you also have to understand the me-we mentality. You've got to be part of a team, but you also have to be able to work autonomously by yourself. And these are it's so important. And I tell you, I've worked with a lot of kids. I've worked with Boy Scouts, and I've done all kind of speaking engagements for kids, you know, SADD, Students Against Drunk Drive, all kinds of stuff when I was on the show. And I have a passion for working with kids, to be quite honest with you, more than I do with adults, because it's more needed. You know, that's my opinion, Dale. I don't want to speak for Dale, but like kids need this stuff so bad. Male teenagers need this so bad. So anyway, Dale, your thoughts.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I was just kind of expand on what he said a minute ago, which is so true, right? So we don't, first of all, in the last 20 years, we have our society, parts of our society have really tried to dilute the masculinity in males, right? Everybody's a winner. Everybody gets a trophy, and that's not how the real world works. The real world has winners and losers.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you want to be a winner, all right, the one that's going to win is the one that has a lot more skill sets, more tools in the toolbox, is diverse, right? So, what Joe was saying earlier, if all you have is a hammer, okay, everything, and everything in the world then looks like a nail, right? And so, but you can't use a hammer on everything, right? So you got to have other tools. It kind of goes with what you said a minute ago about Einstein, the fish having to climb and being an idiot, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the linear thinking. And I made a point, the last couple of times we've talked, even right now, right? There's people sitting at home going, man, what am I going to do? I don't have a job now. I only have one skill set. I only have one thing I'm able to do. And I don't know when I come out this other end of this virus, will there be an opportunity for me, or will I have to be in the unemployment line still? What's going to happen, right? So that brings a lot of, trepidation. And so what we're trying to tell kids is, don't put yourself in that position, right? Be a multitasker, learn multiple skills, okay? You don't have to go to college to learn all these skills. In fact, you don't have to go to college to learn any skills, okay? I know plenty of people that are very successful, six-figure, upward, incomes that have no college degree, okay? It's about effective intelligence. That's the big difference. Effective intelligence, right? Almost like street smarts.
Yeah.
And so those are ones that get ahead. And so that's what we want to do, is teach young guys how to think like that. We're not saying don't go to college. That's your choice. You want to spend a lot of money and just walk away with a piece of paper and go, hey, I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, that makes you feel good. But what we want to do is share, basically what we call in the Army TTPs, tactics, techniques, procedures, all right, for success, for mission accomplishment. And so, I'm always an advocate for having multiple income revenue streams, right? So what does that mean? It means I have to be good at several other things to make that happen, right? And so, for example, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm sitting at home right now. And for me, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm quarantined for 30 days. Cool.
Yeah.
I got a lot of things to do, and I got money coming in from different income streams. Even though I'm not out manually working, I had money coming in from different places to sustain me, right? And sustain my wife in Indonesia. That happened because way back, I read the tea leaves. I realized that, what? Something could happen. If I lose my job, then what happens? So I better get more jobs, right? And learn more things. So that's what we want people to learn. I hate it when, parents put all their stock in their kid to learn one thing, to become a doctor or something, okay? Yeah, doctors are needed right now, right? But hey, anything can happen to you as a doctor, right? In fact, I spoke with a lady the other day, one of my clients, and same thing, right? I said, what happens if, tomorrow, you can't, you take a head injury and you're now you're partially disabled, right? You don't have the cognitive skills you used to. You're still lucid, but you're not effective, right? And maybe you're a surgeon, you can't use your fingers anymore, right? So what are you going to do now? Well, maybe go into teaching or whatever. But you got to have a backup plan, and that's one of the things we teach. I mentioned the other day on our program as well. Have a PACE plan, right? Primary plan, alternate plan, contingency plan, emergency plan, right? Backups. That's how my life is structured, and so there's a lot of dynamics at play. There's a lot of, for Joe and I in this space. There's a lot of obstacles we're going to have to circumvent or bust through. There's a lot of walls we're going to have to tear down because people are going to put them up. For example, Joe mentioned earlier that, there's going to be dads out there that are going to be looking at us going, I don't need you raising my kid. But yeah, you're probably not raising your kid either. And if you are, more power to you. I'm not down in that at all. Or maybe, so, and those, be honest with you, we're not trying to appeal to those dads. Okay. We're not. We're appealing to the son if he wants to learn something, but not to the dads. We are appealing to the mothers out there that are, single parents. Look, you can be the greatest mother on earth, but that doesn't mean you can replace a male figure, right? You just can't. And Joe and I have a lot of teenagers following us. A lot of teenagers following us. My friend in Indonesia, he's Canadian. His son's 14. He came over to visit. He found out who I was, and he's been Googling me ever since, right? And I've suddenly overnight become his hero. I can go on like that all day long. And Joe has just as many. And the thing is, these young men want, and by the way, this kid, all the kids that I know, their fathers are studs. I mean, they're bodybuilders, they're muscular, they're soldiers. And they do set a fine example for their boys, not taking anything away from them. But, even me as a kid growing up, even though my dad was my hero, Joe mentioned earlier, I have many heroes. My father, my German grandfather, my German uncle, Gary O'Neill wrote the book American Warrior, Jim Smokey West, who was my martial arts instructor, Dave Fabricius, who was again, he's also a public speaker and coach. These are my 6 primary mentors in life, and they're all men. They're all men. Okay, not saying that there's no women out there I didn't look up to, but they are men, and because I'm a man, and I was a young man growing up, I wanted to aspire to be like these men, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to go up to be a girl. I want to be like Oprah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm a man. It's my genetics, man. It's that my testosterone. It's I want to be that guy. Yeah. And there's a lot of kids that are out there that want to do that, and they just don't know where to go. Xbox. That's a great example. I've had kids challenge me and challenge my friends and say they could be just as good a soldier as us and just as effective in combat because they're like really good at these war games on Xbox.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
That's like, you have no idea what war is all about, and you're living in fantasy land. And I have personally seen in combat where this generation of kids have literally sat down and stopped fighting while their friends, their soldier friends on the battlefield are dying, and they just sat there and watched them because of what? It was too hot. Yeah. We can talk about this all day long, but the point is, we want to help. We want to do stuff that we can't. I'm not saying we're saving anybody, but we want to create, we want to create men that we can all be proud of, that are there, to lead us, to protect us, to, it just enrich all of our lives, right? Just like the women out there, okay? They have a place as well. But Joe and I, we're not women, and so we can't really mentor women or girls, right? Because we can't. Yeah. I tried. It's kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's not that we couldn't, guys, and we could, but it's just for Dale and I's skill set and the way we coach. It's not that we would turn a female away, but it would be more conducive for a young man. And one thing I do want to say, and I'm sure, Dale's going to agree with this, and we've already talked about it. We're actually going to have an application form for these young men. And the reason we're doing that is we aren't going to coach everybody. Okay. There's no doubt that our business is going to blow up. And we want quality, not quantity. So there's going to be, and we're working on it right now, there's actually going to be an application form that the parent or parents have to fill out. It's just a one-pager that basically describes the situation, some questions, and based off of what we read, we're either going to take them on as clients or not. And somebody may go, well, that's kind of, bad. Well, it's not. And let me tell you why. First, I'm not going to waste your time and your money and my time. If I know, if I read something about like, hey, does your son do drugs? Yeah, he does heroin. Look, first things first.
Yeah, go to rehab. Yeah.
A man like Dale Comstock, you need to fix that first, because all you're doing is just roller skating uphill. Yeah. It's not going to work. Yeah. So we're not going to do that to our clients. We want to make sure that we've got, like Dale was saying, we need the clay. Give us the clay, and we'll mold it. We'll mold it. But if the clay is just falling apart like a soup sandwich, we can't do anything. Yeah. And so that was one of the things I wanted to caveat, is that we will not be taking everybody. We're going to have a very select group of young men that we feel that our time is best vested in. Because again, like Dale was saying, these are future leaders. You know, when I'm 70 years old, if, you know, God grants me that much life, these are going to be kids. They're going to be, you know, in their mid 30s. Who knows what they're doing? They could be, you know, heads of, you know, big companies. They could be all kinds of things. But we know the effect, you know, the cause and effect that this can have, and we take it very seriously. So we are going to be, it is going to be a selection process based off of our requirements.
Yeah, and it's for those who don't like it. Well, I mean, this is what come back to earlier what we talked about. There are winners, there are losers. You don't always get what you want on the first try.
Right.
If let that be learning lesson number one. So even if you don't get to do the program, you are still benefiting from it by being told no. Hey, there's the slap of reality. You get told no sometimes. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say in that sense, anyone who fills out an application benefits. So I want to talk about, we talked earlier about, you know, being told that you shouldn't be a man your whole life and that there's something wrong with you and that your very nature is criminal in at its root, and just how incorrect that is. You know, one of two things will happen. You'll either, over 18, 21 years, you will bottle it up and suppress it forever, and you will go through life being pushed around. Or, once you finally get out of the household you're in, and no one in authority is telling you not to be a man anymore, you're going to experiment with being a man for the first time at 18 or 21. When you're 7, that's when you learn to punch friends and get punched back and be put in timeout. When you're 18 and 21, that's when you go to jail. And that's when you get a felony. And that's when you're no longer,
Very good point.
Yeah. Work it out while you're younger, you know? It's like, let's train with the new gear on base before we go on an operation. We can't, you know, Dale, your book, sorry, it's the first time I use night vision goggles. You're telling me this on a mission. And yeah, that guy walked off a cliff. Literally. Yeah. And so.
No, Paul, that's a very good point. Yeah. And one of the things that I'll just say this, I'll let Dale, I know Dale can run with this ball all day long because he's got the education behind it. But one of the things that we're going to be telling these young men is, you know, like I was not an alpha male when I was born. I was not. I was a beta male, like minus.
Yeah.
But that doesn't look, and some young men are born alpha males. They are.
Yeah.
I was not. Can you learn it? Yes. I was around alpha males, and the farther up the food chain I went and what I did, the more alpha males like Dale I was around, and I learned how to be one. So I wanted to just make sure that who's ever listening, you know, the single mom or single father, whoever, is thinking, well, look, my son is not an alpha male. Look, he doesn't need to be. As a matter of fact, if he's a beta male, they're probably going to get more from what we're going to, you know, show them and coach them on than an alpha male would.
Yeah.
Because these are going to be new thought processes.
Yes.
So beta males are a certain way, alpha males are a certain way. And to really reap the reward of what we're doing, we want you to think like an alpha male, because the alpha males are the leaders. They are successful. They're outspoken. They're confident, not cocky, humble, you know, on and on and on. That is the type of young man we're going to try to mold. You know, respects women. You know, you don't talk back to women. You don't curse to women. You know, you don't hit women. Blah 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 blah. And so I just wanted to clear that up before we went any farther. I just didn't want to go, man. You know, like you guys are two pipe hitters. And again, that was a job. We're past that.
Yeah,
you know, it was just a step in our careers. You know, hey, let me share something right now. And I told this to Dale the other day, and he did. You know, I get pedicures every now and then. Hey, man. Yeah.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey, look, let me tell you something. I love sitting there with 6 women on my left and 6 on my right, and they're all looking at me, and I'm getting my feet. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called honoring your body.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Hey, man.
And an alpha male is cool with that.
Yeah, it's confidence. Cool. Yeah. Hey, yeah. When
anyway, I see Dale laugh and say, "Go ahead and beat me up a little bit."
I was gonna say no, man. You know, once your clients are old enough and they're 21, man, hey, you'll learn. Girly drinks are the best drinks, man. They're awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyone that has a problem with it, they've never had them. They've never had them. There's nothing wrong with daiquiris, man. They're tasty. They're wonderful. They're colorful.
You know, Joe was right though. Believe it or not, I was also the wimpy kid growing up. I was very small. And to put it in perspective, my mom and dad are both, ready for this, 5'4".
Yeah.
Yeah, they're munchkins, man. You know, I mean, they're not midgets, but you know, they're small people. And you know, and I don't know where I got my height. Actually, I got my height from my mother's side, because everybody on my mother's side, the men are all tall, and I got my bulk from my father's side, because on his side they're all little tanks, you know, but they're stocky. So I ended up kind of with this chassis, I guess, this frame.
Combat chassis.
But growing up, I was always, you know, the little guy, always got bullied, always got in fights, and so here's what separated me from a lot of kids today, right? Everybody's all got all this anti-bully stuff, blah 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 blah. Man, when I grew up, everybody got bullied.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you were my size, you definitely got bullied by the other guys, right? And I had two choices. I was get beat up and go home and cry to mommy, you know, and she comes to work, to school, and you know, and raises Cain. But even back then, when I grew up, guess what? They used to paddle us. The teachers used to paddle us. Punishment line. Yeah. Okay. So it was a whole different mindset. So my parents told me, both my mom and my dad are type A's, very aggressive, and they both always told me, you know, don't take no crap. You know, basically, if you get beat up, you let that kid bully you, I'm going to bully you. I'm going to beat you up and come home, right? Yeah. And so they pushed me to defend myself, because they knew one day they're not going to be around for me, and I'm going to be on my own, right? And so they wanted to cultivate a certain character. They knew I wasn't going to get killed in a street fight, you know, especially back then. You know, what's the worst that's going to happen? I get a black eye, a bloody nose. So what? My feelings hurt, you know? Yeah. So that was kind of how I grew up. But I grew up learning how to fight back. And I became pretty good at it very young. I've had a lot of street fights. And I wasn't a bully. I didn't go around bullying people. I just, you know, was able to defend myself. I got a bunch of stories on that. Some of them are in my book. And so the other thing I've learned, right, is so as I got bigger, and I got more effective, especially as I got more athletic, I became more confident about myself and my skills, right? So even when I was, believe it or not, when I was 164 pounds when I was a Delta Force operator. So I wasn't really that big, but guess what? I was a light middleweight boxer. I was a professional. Yeah. I had, you know, black belts. I can go on all day long. Yeah. So I was very capable at 164 pounds, even though I was smaller than the average man at that time. Even now, I was able to handle myself, and I had a lot of confidence, you know. Still wasn't a bully. Yeah. And so now I look at myself, you know, I range anywhere from 200 pounds to 226 pounds, you know, and I can definitely handle myself. And I don't go out and take advantage of people because of my size. I'm not the bully. I'm not a bully. It's not in me, but I know I fear nobody. Okay. I fear nobody. Now, the other thing I wanted to emphasize was, you know, there's this talk about alpha males and beta males and blah, 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 you know, and there's going to be some out there going to roll their eyes. There's no such thing as a beta male. Well, actually, you know what? I disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. I'm a professional dog trainer. I've been training canines for over 41 years on a professional level. Okay. I run a canine company in Bali, provide explosive detector dogs, narcotic detector dogs, patrol attack dogs for the hotels over there and the different venues, okay? Because there is a real terror threat over there. I know dogs. I know dogs like I know human beings. In fact, because I know my dogs, I understand people even better. Remember I said earlier, we are social creatures, just like canines. And so when you take a pack of, I'll take a litter of puppies that I have. In there's going to be alphas, and there's going to be betas, and there's going to be an omega, okay? There's going to be the runt, and then there's going to be the top dogs. And it's always the top dogs that are competing for the leader of the pack position, right? And so, but that doesn't mean that the betas in there, or even the omega, can be developed to be effective, right? Now, and I do this all the time. So, you know, my alphas, you know, they make training a lot easier, right? Because they've got that drive. They got that A-type personality. Yeah. They want to go, and they're easy to train, man. All I got to do is just channelize that energy, okay? Mold it like clay to get them to do what I'm to do, right? To train to do what I do. The B-types that are not quite as aggressive as the A-types, okay? They're a little bit more laid back. They still have what we call drives, right? I look at what kind of drives do you have, right? And so I develop I actually developed their strongest drive. Okay. And so, and then eventually I developed the weaker drive so that there's balance. And what does that mean by drives, right? For example, in the canine world, there's many drives, but one of the drives is the drive to fight. One of them is the drive to defend themselves, and the other one is the drive to hunt. Okay, they all look the same, but they're actually all different.
Yeah.
And so when you're with a trained eye, you figure out which one is which, what's strong, what's weak, and then you develop them that way, and eventually you bring them all to equilibrium. That's when you have the most effective canine. Now, some dogs will not have a certain drive, right? They'll be that beta that just doesn't have that. I don't want to defend myself. I'd rather roll over and give you my belly, and you're never going to be able to make them. You're never going to give them that fight drive that the other alphas have, okay? But that doesn't mean that dog is worthless, right? But the dog might be a good hunter, and that has nothing to do with fighting. It has everything to do with seeking out and searching food, okay? So I can take that same dog and teach him to be a fighter by hunting, right? He'll learn that if I can hunt, it's almost the same act as fighting, but I'm channelizing a different direction. So humans are the same way, okay? I'm gonna share something here that is probably gonna blow everybody's mind. So when I was in Delta on my team, okay, you would imagine, right, the whole unit's nothing but double
alphas.
A type, right?
Alphas, yeah.
But it's not true, okay? It's not true, because we had also guys that were our snipers, and they were more B types.
Oh yeah.
They were laid back, cool. They could lay down for long periods of time.
Probably want that, though.
Behind a rifle and a scope.
You
and
want
take that
that.
shot. What you needed, though, the guys that were up close, okay, the A types, you need the guy that had no problem getting in there with that fight drive and getting it on at close range. Okay, I looked at the snipers as kind of like the B type, the prey drive, the hunter from afar.
Yeah.
You didn't have to get close and personal and fight. That was too much.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had a guy one of the guys on my team became a sniper eventually. Really nice guy, very laid back. You could not ruffle his feathers no matter how hard you tried.
Yeah.
And we always tried because that's all we did to each other, right? Because that's what we were type A's.
Yeah. Button heads and stuff. Yeah.
But this guy one day admitted he had never been in a fight. I go, what? I said, you not even one fight, not even one fist fight in grade school? He goes, never been in a fight, never exchanged punches.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. How the hell did you get here?
Yeah.
But to my point, you don't have to be a fighter to be an effective soldier, right? You don't have to. We look at your other traits and the other drives. He was still effective. He was actually more effective as a sniper. There was a place in the world for him, right? There's a movie that I was watching about, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was about a conscientious objector in World War II. He joined the Army.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like it was his duty, but he didn't want to shoot nobody, right?
Yeah.
But he wanted to be a medic.
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
The Medal of Honor.
Yeah, Medal of Honor recipient.
Yeah, I just saw that. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there's a classic example, right?
Yeah.
Now, what did he have to do? He had to go in there, and he had to jump in there with a pack of wolves, a bunch of meat eaters, right? But he went in there as a kitten.
Yeah.
He was just a little puppy, and he would never be the alpha. He would never be these meat eaters, right? It was in him,
but
for whatever reason.
In a sense, that is a form of alpha, because he never let anyone tell him to be anything other than what he wanted to be. That is, in a sense, alpha. He stood up to everyone and said, I'm not doing it. If that's not alpha, I don't know what is. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, but that's right. And so, but he didn't meet the stereotype, right?
Yeah.
He didn't meet the profile of, the regular alphas out in there. So the point that I'm trying to get to, I guess, here is we're not here to try to convert anybody's teenager to be, a type A meat eater, and that's it. What we're trying to do is we're trying to develop each person based on their unique traits, their genetics, their DNA, their socialization, whoever they are, and try to shape that so that they become more effective with what they already have inside. That's the idea, right? Just like my dogs. I got to take what you were born with, and I got to work with that to create the best canine I have. And guess what? Every one of my canines that I've bred, every puppy, every one of them works. Some are actually attack patrol dogs. Some are just scent dogs that look for explosives. Some dogs can do it all. I have one dog that can find narcotics, explosives, and he's a great attack dog, right? I mean, he really is super dog.
Yeah.
And but not all dogs can be that, but they all have value, and they're all effective, and they all make me money.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could get paid, they'd be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
They can't get it, so I got to get the money. I just feed a dog.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with this, and hopefully that kind of doesn't, hopefully people don't misinterpret that we're just trying to groom alpha males. We're not.
No,
we're just trying to help young men be better men.
It's
be better
it's literally to be the best person that you are, and if you're a beta male going into it, not a lot of beta males like being beta males. There's not some like, well, he's stuck as that. It's being a beta male and being like, whether they realize it or not, most of them do realize that there is a thirst to be like, how do I, within like reason, like how do I throw my elbows and, get what I want and get my place in the world? And if you do have alpha males in single mother households, man, you need a father figure there. Like, I have my mom and she's tough and my three brothers, but also like, thank God my dad was there. Because at some point, you have to have Big Daddy be like, okay, you crossed the line. And it puts you in your place. And again, back to what you were saying earlier, because if you're not put in your place before you turn 18, one day someone's going to put you in your place, and it's not going to be the same as being grounded. It's going to be a police officer shooting you, or it's going to be someone knifing you. It's going to be something horrible. So, or getting fired. Maybe not violent. You just get fired.
I had a stepson. So I had a stepson, right? When I first got to know him, he was young, and he was very meek, very passive. Man, he was, I think, 7 or 8 years old. He was still drinking out of a sippy cup. I'm like, are you kidding me? And he was very I don't want to say spoiled, but he just hadn't been nurtured a certain way for a while. Anyways, he got bullied all the time in school because of his appearance, right? He had these big, the Coke bottle glasses, he was Asian kind of mix. And he was a little guy, and so he was a nice guy and he was quiet, and people, the other guys saw it as a sign of weakness, and they would just jump him all the time. And I would ask him, I said, well, what happens when when this bully, he wants to fight with you? He goes, I run as fast as I can. I said, well, how long can you run for?
Yeah.
At one point, do you run out of gas and he catches up with you, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens? I just keep running. And then I zig this way and I zig. That was his answer. I'm going to zig this way and I'm going to zig that way. He can't catch me. I'm like, wow. I said, what would you do if that bully attacked your mom? Would you run away, zig and zag, or what would you do? And he looked at me like, wow, yeah, good idea. What would I do?
Yeah.
Now you got to think about the consequences of running. Maybe that's not always an option. And so, and he was very, averse to firearms, so he got all this bad information, growing up, guns are bad and fighting is bad, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden reality set in, he's getting bullied. And so the next phase was, okay, well, no fault of your own that you feel like that. You're still a kid, man. It's that input, right? Input output thing. And right now you're just getting a lot of bad input. So what we have to do is fix that. So, we got him enrolled in karate school, to build his confidence, not necessarily because it's going to make him a dynamic fighter. It takes a long time to get really good at it, but at least start building his confidence, start involving him in sports, where he had to play with other kids, and be a part of this team. And then, to make a long story short, what finally happened was he finally grew up to loving firearms. He got into, the milsim games, he had all the tactical gear, and all this. Suddenly he flipped from being this little beta guy that, really passive, to was able to stand up for himself, and so you see the flip, right? And the flip came because he didn't have a real father figure there for him. And suddenly I show up and I'm this guy, right? And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, well, how fast can you run? And for how long?
Yeah.
Because we're going to make a point where you're going to run out of gas and he's going to catch you. Somebody's going to catch you. Yeah. What about you? And when I brought that thing up, what about your mom? What are you going to do if somebody attacks your mom? And then they realized, you know what? Running's not always a good idea. And sometimes I got to do something for someone else and I have to be selfless about it, right? So, these are the kind of things, these lessons learned that I've drawn from all my life, and I've had experience with them. And there's a lot of kids that are out there like that. So I mentor a lot of kids. I actually get a lot of teenagers, not a lot anymore, but I used to get a lot of teenagers that would come in from out of state, come down here to where I live in Florida, just to spend the day with me, hang out. Their parents would bring them down here, their grandparents would bring them down here. And basically it was a day to go eat some lunch, talk about the Army, talk about the military, play the guns, show the guns, tell war stories and just kind of, let them touch the magic, I think almost every one of them that I remember went into the military, and I'm still in touch with some of them. They still call me, and they're now E5s, E6s, officers, and go up the ranks. So they're out there, and sometimes they just need a little guidance and a little reorientation, to get them going in the right direction. What's the right direction? The right direction is the direction they want to go.
Yes.
If they want to be better people and they want to be this, and then let's help you get in that direction. Running from your problems, and zigging and sagging ain't gonna get you where you want to go.
No.
The biggest thing, Tom, the biggest thing too, that anybody that knows anything about coaching is one of the biggest things that a great coach, performance coach, life coach, whatever you want to title it, is that they hold their clients accountable. That's a big word. Accountable. And your mom can hold you accountable, but when you have somebody like myself or Dale kind of like watching and they respect you, it has a little more, and we're not trying to replace their father.
Yeah.
We're not trying to do that.
Yeah.
What we're saying is it's a little bit different when you've got this guy, that's coaching me, watching and holding me accountable. It's a little bit different mindset. And it's great because it works, because that's what these young men need. They need guidance, but it's not a fire and forget. You've got to give them guidance, and then you got to maintenance them, and you got to hold them accountable. Just like our adult clients, like one of my guys, I told him, I said, hey man, I actually texted him yesterday, are you doing this? You doing this, doing that? He's like, oh, I forgot. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to constantly, and that's what Dale and I do. It's not like blah, 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 and you just put out all this information.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
And by the way, on our program, just like Joe was saying, to hold them accountable, we actually have tests, for example, when we talk about physical fitness, okay? I want you to see you record yourself and send me a recording of you doing, 50 push-ups,
Yeah.
If you go, I can do 50 push-ups, well, then you need to keep doing push-ups till you can. I mean, I knock out 120 push-ups every day at one time.
Yeah.
That's just my routine. No problem. Okay. Well, you got to start somewhere. If you can only do 5, that's fine. Let's see the progress. I want to see you actually trying. We'll have you filming yourself push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, whatever, right? We'll give you a physical fitness test, and you're going to show us, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully at the end of the training, we'll see the progress if you're doing what if you've committed. So there's things we'll verbally test you at the end of something. When we have a module, when we get done training, for example, leadership. When we talk about leadership, okay, and we're not talking about just leading people, we're talking about self-leadership, okay. There's going to be a lot of principles that we go through, and I want at the end, or anywhere on the curriculum, I'm going to ask you about leadership. I'm going to ask you, name off some of the leadership traits that we've talked about. What does it mean? How do you apply those? So we're going to come back and we're going to hold you accountable, right? It's not like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next module, and you forget everything, right?
Yeah.
We're going to hold you to task, because these lessons are learned that you're learning or they're going to learn are not, they can be perishable until you basically commit them to memory, and you not only remember them, but you apply them in everything you do. And that's the goal. We want you to apply all these tenets to everything that you do in life. And then if you do that, then you'll start seeing the positive change, and you're heading in the direction you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely, Dale. I couldn't agree with you more. And the thing is, a lot of these young men I'm sure we're going to be talking to really have never, and I don't want to say I'm assuming this, but I would be willing to bet money on it. If their mother or father are signing them up for us to mentor them, they've never seen anything like this. They've never even heard of something, and that's the sad thing. This stuff is going to be brand new to them. And it's not rocket scientist stuff, it's just instilling, morals and values and discipline, and a thought process, for example, win every day. And we're going to do this with our young clients as well as we do with our own. Win every day mentality. Every day you've got to do something to win. Micro goal. It's actually called a micro shift.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the whole psychology of it, but a micro goal is just doing something every day. I won 1%. Yeah. I did this. I won 1%. Yeah. I did this. I won. It becomes a mindset, a winning mindset, not lose. It's I did this today, and I did this today, and I did this today.
Yeah, make your bed as soon as you get up. It will help.
Dude, I'm just telling you, this is the mindset that you need to get young adults into, the winning mindset, you know. And if you notice, Dale and I don't even think he's ever said it. Everybody talks about the warrior mindset, right? In our community, warrior mindset. Okay, that is so overplayed. Yeah, it's not even funny.
Yeah,
I don't. Have I used it in the past? Yeah, but everybody thinks of the warrior mindset of being in the military or being in law enforcement, and it doesn't really have a good connotation to it. It has a kind of like a black side, like aggressiveness and this, and that's not really what it is. The warrior mindset, if you even people want to talk about it, it's just a psychological state that you can overcome, like stress, fear, obstacles, and keep going. It has nothing to do with kicking in doors and beating people up. That's not the warrior mindset. It's convoluted. When people think about that, it's like, do your homework. That's not what it means. And Dale and I really didn't use that term because in our community, that's all people talk about. In ours, we use a very proprietary structure, psychosoma training, which, to be quite honest with you, I'd almost guarantee you talk to 10 spec ops guys, maybe one will even know what you're talking about. You're exposed to that at certain levels. And anyway, the bottom line is, so we don't even get into using that term warrior mindset. It's just, I don't know, Dale, if he agrees or not. Matter of fact, I know he agrees, but it just doesn't have a good connotation. And when you talk to kids, the first thing they're going to hear is warrior. That means fighting. That means, soldiering. And that's not what it is. So we don't even use that. We use the term, actually, Dale came up with it. It's beautiful. It's just mind-body engineering.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means the same thing, but it's not the same word, So, and Dale came up with that, and it's great. And Dale, why do you? There's actually more to just mind and body, but he can get into that. And I know we're kind of running short on time now because you said an hour.
Yeah.
But Dale, if you want to close up with that about the mind-body engineering thing, and
So there's actually there's three components to the program. When you train people, okay, everybody talks about mind, body, spirit, okay. We know what the mind is, okay, to some degree, right? Everybody's thinking about, it's the way you think, you got to think this way, be positive, you're a winner, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's actually more to it than that. There's actually a neurological, physiological component at play that you have to literally manipulate. Okay, and so we're going to get into some really deep stuff here when we talk about kinetic molecular theory, metaphysics, and a whole lot of other things that are related to this thing. So it's actually not just teaching yourself to think a certain way, it's also understanding the underlying changes that are going to go on physiologically and psychologically, and how they're going to work together to improve performance all the way around, whether it's your thinking or whether it's actual physical action. Then the second part is the body, right? So if your body is not in harmony with your mind, right? And so if it's not in tune, then
doesn't
for
matter.
me, for example, if I'm out of shape, then mentally I'm out of shape because I feel bad about myself, right? But if my body feels good, my mind feels good, right? They're symbiotic. And so we have to talk about how do you take care of the vessel, right? This the temple. If you're a Christian, right? We got to take care of the temple, and it's what's carrying the brain housing group. Funny thing is the guy Dave from Wendy's, right? The founder of Wendy's, he got on TV one day. Somebody asked him about hey, your hamburgers are greasy and stuff. Isn't that a bad thing? People are going to get fat and die of heart disease.
My
body can carry my brain everywhere, right? And then he died of heart disease. How ironic is that, right? So what we do is we got to teach you how to take care of your body. I'm a naturopath. That's kind of what I focus on as well, is diet, nutrition. I explain what's actually happening, especially when you take certain vitamins, et cetera, and how does that affect your overall systems. And then the third one is spirit. So we're not talking about the Holy Spirit, okay? We're not talking about, We're not talking about enthusiasm, spirit. Like, yeah, bro, you got this, man. Come on, show good spirit. Nope,
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah.
When I talk about spirit, I'm talking about something different, and I won't go into too many details because this is kind of one of our. This is what sets us apart from the herd out there, right? But when we talk about spirit, it's completely unrelated to those things, and you'll be surprised when you find out what it really means. But it's actually the underpinning to success. If you understand that, and you understand how to apply this last one to everything you do, then you basically, what you have done is you have built a mega engine, and it's running at higher RPMs, and it's pushing you forward really fast, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, those are the three tiers of this coaching program, and the intention here is to, again, it doesn't matter who. We'll coach anybody. I mean, we coach women. It doesn't matter, right? Kids. I've coached kids, women, adults, older guys. Younger guys. It doesn't matter. The premise is the same. Now we modify it based on who the audience, who's the client. But the whole idea is to give you the tools in the toolbox to make yourself a better version of you, to self-actualize, to become what you envisioned you would like to be. Studies have shown 76% of people in their twilight years, as they get older, 76% when they were asked, what's your biggest regret? To the T, all of them. Man, I never got to really experience the things I wanted to do, right? I never got to self-actualize, I missed out on this, I missed out on that, I wanted to go skydiving, but I never got to go skydiving, now I'm too old. No, actually, you're not too old. And then there was another study that basically was taken and interviewed people that were literally in their last days in the bed, right? And the same question was posed to them, and 100% of them were like, I didn't get to do all the things I want to do. I didn't get to self-actualize, right? That's the biggest regret everybody has, is they did not become the person they wanted to be. They've missed out on so much. And there's a lot of reasons why that happens, okay? And most of those reasons can be overcome so that you can do, like Joe and I, man, my biggest fear in life is I'm going to run out of things to do, because when I run out of things to do, it's like that's when I'm going to die. Like I told you before, I'm like a shark in water. I got to keep moving, right? Otherwise I die. So I got to keep filling this bucket up, my bucket list, right? Put stuff in it. It's like, okay, I got to still fly, fixed wing aircraft. I got a pilot license for that. I got to master the guitar, So I put a lot of stuff in there so that, after I knock out these other goals, I got one more. I have my guitar right now, and then guitar and flying an airplane at the same time. But the whole idea is, it's when there's nothing worse than watching somebody die, and I've seen this happen, I see this happen in my family, where they regretted that they did not get to do the things they wanted to do, and it was heartbreaking and it was maddening. For me.
I was gonna say, Maya Angelou, there is no greater pain than bearing an untold story.
Yeah, great. You have to write that quote down for me.
I will.
Yeah, man, I need to be taking some notes here. Hold on.
You need to be coaching me, man.
I will. Yeah. But
honor of Tom here.
Yeah. It's but that's it is true. It's it's better to go into, was it Hunter S. Thompson? It is, the purpose of life is to embark on a journey, and then to is it better to if you're a ship, is it better to go into the rough seas and sink, or to stay safe in harbor? It's like, dude, you might die in the process, but we all die. So it's like, there's nothing worse than, it's one thing, disease or injury, there's nothing worse than seeing someone just like, nope, like, I'm safe, I'm healthy, I'm financially secure, but you're so full of regret.
The best quote ever, guys, and we can probably segue with this, is that Teddy Roosevelt, Rough Rider, read his quote in the arena.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I know.
That says it all right there.
That's a beautiful one.
This, when you're done watching this, Google Teddy Roosevelt quote in the arena.
Yeah.
It says it all.
Yeah, right.
He was the man. That was a man. They don't make guys like
Teddy
that.
was a man's man.
He was the man's man.
Yeah.
He said it perfectly.
What is that historian's quote about Teddy Roosevelt? Because Teddy died in his sleep. He said, it's best the Grim Reaper came while he was sleeping, for had he been awake, there would have been a fight. Like, yeah.
It's a great quote. It's a great, if you haven't read it, it's called In the Arena.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So I'm going to stop recording. Let's wrap it up, stop recording. Yeah, I just got a couple things to say to y'all afterwards. But Dale Comstock, Joe Tedeye, thank you very much. I will put the links in the video and in the comments, and you're doing God's work. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
man.
And hey, everybody that's watching, make sure you sign up for this podcast and become a member of it. And,
yeah. Oh, they will. They will.
Plug it for you, and
Yeah.
put a plug for us. Come to Tier 1 Performance Coaching on Facebook and our website, Tier 1 Performance Coaching.
Beautiful. All right, brothers. Thank you.